Hi, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys to Joel. He is from Property Rate. So today he's going to be going through a couple of scenarios on different things, different aspects of appraisals. He'll run through pretty much, you know, how to, if you guys want to do like a rebuttal, what to expect, you know, what to look for in appraisals, your comps, especially you know, when we're trying to get a property and we know that maybe they overlisted it in price, like there's some little pointers that he can give you guys on how to walk your agents through on how to make sure that they can be a little realistic on your on the values of the home. You know, great tips. Joel's been in the business how long, Joel?
Since 2004, 18 years.
So he's been in the business a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's worked with ESC for so long, and he's always willing to give us his little nuggets of knowledge on appraisals, which is super important when it comes to, of course, us doing loans. So I'm going to go ahead and have him take it away. If you guys are logging on, make sure you guys are muted. I'm going to be going in and muting you guys if you guys don't mute. But please, if you guys have questions, do not be afraid to ask. I will be observing the chat to make sure if you guys want to ask some questions. So this is the mic. So Joel, go ahead and take it away.
Should I hold the mic or?
No,
just stop right here. Okay.
Yeah,
and then the screen is already being shared right now?
Yes.
But do I just scroll down or do I just?
So you could do from the beginning and it'll start doing the slides. So you want to click, yeah, from the beginning. There you go.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Hale, for the introduction. Again, just a quick history. The company Property Rate, we started back in 2004. So we've been doing this for almost 19 years now. It started by three brothers. I'm lucky enough to be the youngest one. I do my best to do sales and marketing. My middle brother Dex runs our ops, and my oldest brother Chris does all of our tech and finance. We have over 50 people in our corporate staff in our office in next to the Honda Center. So a perk of you guys being here is today you'll get my business card. So if you ever go in a Honda Center event, just come and take my business card and just say, hey, you're there to see Joel, and they'll give you free parking. I know, just another perk, whatever, right? So again, I've been doing this for almost 19 years now. I know I look really young, but I use a lot of South Korean beauty creams to keep myself looking this fresh. So I'm also peddling those at the end. So there's a special promo code. So today we're going to give you guys basically the greatest crash course we can possibly give you on appraisals. At the end, we're going to talk about how we're also going to have a tool for you guys to be able to check values on properties, and also a lead gen tool for your guys' realtor partners out there. So I have our staff appraiser, Kathy Piggin, who is also on the call, so she can answer any appraisal questions that you guys might have. So without further ado, here we go. So here are our topics for today, some key guidelines when researching comps, okay? So first thing that an underwriter is going to look at when they're reviewing a report, they want closed comps in the past 90 days within a mile. That is the most generic lender underwriting guidelines. You want closed comps past 90 days within a mile. Now, if there's no comps in the past 90 days, then you go up 6 months. If there's none, then you can go back a year or go out further in mileage and then make an addendum or write an addendum of say why you did such a thing. Cool. Next up, comparables from the same city zip code as our subject property. So for example, Costa Mesa has 2 zip codes, 92626 and 92627. So just because our property is in 92626 and just because it borders 92626, 92627 doesn't mean you can hop over to 92627 and get comps from there. You want to stay within a mile in 92626, and if there's no comps, then you can go up to 92627. And if there's really no comps in both 92626 and 92627, then you would go to like Newport Beach and then make a negative adjustment based on, you know, the prestigiousness of Newport Beach. Avoid crossing freeway, highway, or major boundaries. So a good example is like, let's say the 57 freeway, right? It goes through Anaheim, okay? So because our property, let's say it's on the left side of this freeway, and even though it's all like 92802, doesn't mean you can hop over to 57 freeway and start grabbing comps from the other side. You want to stay in the same side, and if there's really no comps, then you can hop over on the other side. The only time you can also hop over that major freeway is this, let's say our property is like a completely upgraded home and there's no other upgraded properties on this side, then you can hop over the other side of ground comps from there. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but also railroad tracks. Like if our property, let's say, is south of those railroad tracks, you can't just hop over north of those railroad tracks and grab comps from there. Another thing is like a major body of water, like not like a puddle of water, like a river or like a lake, right? You want to avoid hopping over that river to go grab comps from the other side of that river. Cool. Same bed and bath count, 20% variance in gross living area, about 200 to 400 square feet on each side. So just a quick thing, I'm not an appraiser. I've just comped out like over probably 400,000 properties in my lifetime. So I've had a lot of target practice. I used to play Match.com with appraisers and properties. So I know which appraiser is the best in every area. So for me, when I'm comping out a property, a good general rule that I always use is like, let's say our property is 1,000 square feet, okay? You can generally take comps on each side, about 200 to 300 square feet on each side. So if it's 1,000 square feet, then you can take every comp from like 700 to 1,300 or 800 to 1,200. That's a good general rule. Obviously, if it's like a mansion, like a 5,000 square foot home, if it, yeah, absolutely. If it's like a mansion, then obviously you have more leeway of what you can use, but a good general rule is you want to take comps that are about 200 to 300 square feet on each side. Another thing is same bed and bath count. So if our property is like, let's say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, right? And you're basically looking at a long list of comps. When you're looking at that long list, you want to avoid all the comps that are like 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, right? You want to take those out first, but obviously you can take all the comps that are like 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom. Another thing is that the adjustment that an appraiser is going to make of a property that goes from a 1 bedroom to a 2 bedroom or a 2 bedroom to a 3 bedroom is greater than a 3 bedroom to a 4 bedroom or a 4 bedroom to a 5 bedroom, because not everybody wants a 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom home, right? So the adjustments on those are far greater. Next slide. Lot size and acreage. Okay, so this is a common mistake that a lot of people make when they're when they're trying to comp out a property or trying to figure out what the value is of a home. When you're looking at a long list of comps, and generally like a single family residence has about 5,000 to 7,000 square foot lot size, right? So when you're looking at a long list, and I've done this like a lot in my history, where I took like a comp that's like on a double lot or a triple lot or on acreage, and then like the report comes in low and I don't have to redo the appraisal and pay money out of my own pocket to do it, right? When you're looking at that long list, and our property, let's say it's a 5,000 square foot lot, you want to eliminate all the 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, or on acreage. The only time you would be able to take one of those comps is if there's really no other comps, especially in the time period that we're in now. There's a ton of comps. There's still properties closing, right? So if there's really no comps, then you would take a lot size, a property that has like 1 acre or 2 acres, and then make the negative adjustments based on that. You guys might be asking, Joel, is there a particular adjustment for the lot size or the acres? There really isn't. It's really up to the appraiser that's completing that that file. As you guys know, an appraisal is an appraiser's opinion of value. Some appraisers are more conservative. Some appraisers are a lot more aggressive. So it really depends on the appraiser that does it. And a lot of appraisers also on like purchases, just to let you guys know, they're always going to try to hit the purchase price. Obviously on refis, they have no idea what you guys are hoping for, but people usually get upset like, hey, why did this come in low? Appraisers know what the value is. They know what they need to hit. They're always going to try to hit it, right? It's really on the situations where like an appraiser comes in like 2 to 3K short, where they're just basically trying to poke at you, trying to like make you mad on purpose. But in general, they're always going to try to hit that value because they know what they're trying to get. Cool. Comparing similar year built comps. So I use the decade method when I'm doing this. So obviously you guys know common sense, right? When they built that entire development, all those properties were probably built all in the same time period. So if our property is built in 1954, you want to take all the comps that are also built in 1950s, right? If it's 60s, 1960s, right? So using a decade method when you guys are comparing the property to is useful. The only time you would basically go and take a comp that's newer is if, again, our property's fully upgraded, right? Then you can take like a comp that's like newer, right? And basically compare it to our subject property. Things to do not, all right? Things not to do. So this is the one we get the most on reconsideration of value. When agents send comps that are active, pending, or backup listing comps. We cannot take active pending backup listing comps, because if that was the case, then I would just tell all my neighbors, hey, let's all list our properties for $20 million and you guys have a great cash out refi program and I can be at the Bahamas tomorrow, right? So we can't do that. Another thing is size. Obviously, gross living areas are significantly bigger in lot size. Again, this is just a lot of common sense following that same rule I gave you guys. You can usually take comps that are about 200, 300, up to maybe 400 square feet on each side. We get this all the time where realtors will send us comps that are like 1,000 square feet bigger or 2,000 square feet bigger or in a different zip code, right? Or in like a different city. Yeah, we can't do that. So try not to send us those, but we'll still look at it. Comps dated past 6 months. Obviously, right now we have a ton of comps. Usually the hardest time is actually the period of time that we're in right now. Following that rule I gave you guys, comps within the past 90 days within a mile. We have seasonality now, which we haven't had in the last 2 years because we've all just worked through the holidays, right, during COVID, and rates were like at record lows. This is usually our hardest time because during like the winter, people are kind of like more, I guess, desperate. And they just sell their house for whatever, right? And so appraisers are going to take the comps that are in the past 90 days, right, which are in this period of time normally lower. So you have to really find a great appraiser that's going to be willing to take comps from like May, June, July, August, right? The hot time to basically justify the value of the purchase price. Cool. Comparing completely remodeled versus average original condition properties. Now, during the pandemic, we were getting away with a lot of this. Because appraisers make our favorite word called time adjustments. We don't have time adjustments anymore. The market's very stable and flat right now. So it's hard to, the typical situation in the last 2 years was a property gets listed for, let's say, 600,000. After multiple offers, it becomes 750,000, right? And the highest comp was 600,000. So now the appraiser's like, hey, how am I gonna pull out the 750? And appraisers were getting away with basically, even if our property was like average original condition, they were using comps that are like fully remodeled. I looked at a report, I'm like, how did this happen? But hey, I'm not gonna ask any questions. So yeah, now like appraisers are really taking this into consideration. Appraisers also have been using a thing that we like to call the substitution rule, meaning like if a property was like, let's say listed for 700,000 as the final sales price, they're also considering other properties in the area that they could substitute. Like, hey, what else could this borrower get for 700,000, right? So that's something for you guys to take in consideration when you guys are approaching like a value. Okay, swimming pools, and we're talking about in-ground pools, not like the ones you buy at Walmart that you like you inflate, right? So in-ground pools. Okay, so our chief appraiser and I argue about this all the time, but for me, when I'm comping out a property and our property doesn't have a swimming pool, you want to immediately eliminate all the comps that have swimming pools, right? Because obviously it's a different style of home, it's a different type of market. I like to take away all the comps that have the swimming pools. I've made this mistake before where I will use it to comp out the property with a swimming pool. The appraiser's like, Joel, I can't use that. What are you doing? And then we end up having to like redo the appraisal or do a reconsideration of value. So obviously if our property does have a swimming pool, you can take comps that don't have a swimming pool. If there's really no comps, then you can take the comp that has a swimming pool. The typical adjustment for a swimming pool, depending on how nice it is, let's just say it's a plain Jane pool, nothing exciting. It's not like, with fountains and all the bells and whistles. The typical adjustment we've seen in reports are about like 10 to 15,000 usually for a pool. So that's usually, again, I'm being really conservative now because obviously our market has changed. It's very flat. And just to let you guys know, property values aren't going down. A lot of like realtors just need to be realistic of what they're listing their property for. I know like the last 2 years, they've just been kind of just getting away with putting it for whatever and no sell. But now, like that's not the market that we're in. A lot of the property values that you guys have seen, agents listing their property, they were never going to go for that. So they're just lowering it, right? And now people are seeing like price reduction, price reduction, price reduction. It's not really that. They're just having to list the properties out the right way. Another thing for you guys to keep in mind is that the top peak of the market on property values was around May 2022. So that's when like the values were like at the highest it was ever been, because obviously you guys know that the rates in the beginning of 2022 like doubled, So a lot of that stuff was just, like the leftover properties, right, that were still closing and everything closed. That's why the values were like really high. But again, we have seasonality. A lot of people that haven't been doing this for a long time, they haven't really experienced seasonality. It's typically like slow during like November, December, January. Trust me, it was slow for us. I was getting kind of worried. Should have gone on vacation, but I didn't. But yeah, like that's usually like the slowest time. Ooh. Yeah, no above ground pool, guys. It doesn't give you any value. Okay, how to approach reconsideration. So first thing, professionalism in your approach is very important. Okay, so when you guys start off the email with this appraiser is the biggest idiot loser ever in the entire world, blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, we don't ever send the appraiser that. We just delete all that, right? We don't send that to the appraiser. Appraisers are like people too. So we have certain tactics of what we do. Yeah, they are people. They have feelings. So our approach is always like being nice is very, very important. So again, like appraisers also don't like to hear that I've been doing this for however many years. Like nobody, for them, it's like nobody really cares. They're gonna say I'm the appraiser. So we just treat all our appraisers like they're gods. So we just have a certain approach to how we do it. Funny story, I actually have an appraiser. He's up in the San Jose area. So he was like doing all these files for us. And I'm like, John, like, why is there like the same like Porsche in each of the houses that you do? And he's like, is that your car? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, why do you park your car in front of the house? Like, it adds value to the house. It makes it seem like it's worth more because I park my Porsche. I'm like, okay, John, whatever. Whatever makes it come into value, we're good. So keep doing your doing. Providing evidence of errors like missing or inaccurate property characteristics. Obviously, this is really important. It's really helpful now. Everything's is online. So having permits, things that they added to the house, having all that stuff ready for the appraiser when they go out, that definitely helps you guys out a lot. Also, when you guys, just some tips also when the appraiser goes out and your realtors are meeting them out there. A lot of appraisers, we don't work with them, but the ones that, there's some that are like divas. It is really useful when the realtor goes to the property and has like a list of comps for the appraisers. Now there's appraisers out there that'll probably trash that, but the appraisers we work with, we always like give them the heads up that that might happen because it helps with the value because something might have closed the day prior that might help and the appraiser already out there. So, hey, let's go take a picture of this comp, right? So that's another thing that's super important, that the day the appraiser goes out to the property is the effective date of the appraisal. So let's say the final sales price is $750,000, okay? And you guys are aware that there's a comp. It's Wednesday, there's a comp closing on Friday. That's gonna help us get the final value. You guys should always instruct your realtors, hey, let's wait till Friday. So that way we can use that comp to justify the value. Luckily, you guys work at iCore Lending. You guys are flexible with stuff like that. We can update the appraisal. But there are other lenders out there that will be like, nope, it's Wednesday. That's it. It's done. There's no more like redoing the file, updating the file. That's the value. Too bad, right? So again, like that's something for you guys to look out for because we've had that happen where, a client would have to go to a different lender and we're like, well, everybody should have known, right? Okay, return on investment, realistic remodeling expectations. So we get this a lot in terms of like borrowers that spend like $200,000 in landscaping. People usually think they're gonna get like dollar for dollar for whatever they put to the house. That doesn't happen. Obviously the stuff that you guys wanna focus on is kitchen, bathroom, right? Those are the things that are most important. Spending $200,000 in landscaping is probably not gonna do you guys any good. If you guys want, I'll come over and do it for $10,000. But spending $200,000 on landscaping doesn't usually help you guys. Also, another tip, I know I'm kind of like all over the place, but there's like some stuff in my head. I'm like, hey, I should probably share this with you guys. If you guys have a client that lives in a PUD, like a planned unit development, and usually PUDs are usually properties that are built like 2000s or newer. Some areas with 1990s or newer. It's usually they have like an HOA. They have a a Melrose. So we always tell clients that if you live in a PUD, you're basically held hostage to the value of your PUD. Unless obviously you're in Irvine and there's like PUDs everywhere, right? But in general, like there's development, like you're stuck to the value of that development. So Like I used to live in Orange and I live in a PUD and it's like literally the only PUD in Orange, California. And I see people in our development that would spend $200,000 on landscaping. And you're not going to get that 200. And they're like, oh yeah, my value just went from 700 to 900. Doesn't work like that because you're stuck to the highest value of that PUD development. So that's something for you guys to look out for if you have a client that you're trying to coach them on realistic remodeling expectations. So just to show you guys pictures, this is like basically kind of a average original condition. This is a fully remodeled property. On reports, we can go through a report if you guys want, but just to give you guys an idea, an appraiser on when you guys look at the comp grid, you guys see like on each comp, there's usually like a label, right? There's C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5, okay? So C1 is when a property is a new construction, never been lived in, brand new, just built, okay? C2 is when it's like a fully remodeled house. They like gutted the entire thing, fully redone. It could be a special on HGTV. Let's all go move into the house. It's baller, right? But C3 and C4 is basically where all the appraisers live at, okay? So C3 and C4 is how the appraisers on the report, depending on how they're trying to convey the condition of the property to the person that's going to review it. So C3 could be a property that's like upgraded, but they only did the kitchen or just the kitchen and bathroom, but everything else is kind of just, you know, plain Jane, right? C4 is like this, like it's average original condition, nothing's been done to it, it's just, you know, lived in, right? So the appraiser is basically going to always use most of the time C3 and C4 to compare the subject properties to, and then you'll see them make an adjustment based on comparing those two comps together. C5, we rarely get, so C5 you basically can't fund on it. Like there's like foundation issues, it's missing like walls, like it's not done, like the house is incomplete. Typically for appraisal reports, the appraisers, you don't really get C5, or we'll get like a call prior to the appraiser finishing it and saying, hey, this house is incomplete, like the entire kitchen's missing. So like for us, what we normally do is we will make the report C4, but subject to all the completion, because we want to give you guys hope that you might be able to complete it rather than telling you it's over. So it's C4, you know, with correct stuff that they need to fix on the property. Cool. Yep, go for it. We're meeting somebody real quick. Again, no active pendings, backup listings. Ooh, Abby's on here. And Oscar.
And then you did get Philip asking if we can.
Yeah,
go through a
perfect.
report.
Awesome. We'll do that. That's all we have, Kathy. I just care about the comp grid and the final value, and if it's as is or something too. That's me and Monica were joking about that earlier. Price per square footage. So we don't do price per square footage, guys, because if that's something that realtors do to compare properties, because if it was price per square footage, then you wouldn't need appraisers. You would just take the square footage of the property, multiply it by a magical number, and that's the value, right? We do sales comparison approach. So just to let you guys know, the most important thing that's going to determine what the value of the house is the square footage of the house. Okay, that is the most important thing. Because depending on what the square footage is, that is what's going to basically put you to whatever bracket comps that you can use. Following that rule I gave you guys, that's why I was like, hey, you want to usually take comps within, you know, 200, 400 square feet on each side. So if you guys are recommending a client that's going to add square footage to their property, always check what the comps would be if it was like 400 plus square feet bigger, because sometimes you have to see if there are even comps that are bigger in their neighborhood. You don't want to be the, what we like to call the white elephant in your neighborhood. It happens all the time in like Garden Grove or Westminster. You know, you have like the random McMansion, but they're gonna live there forever. That's like the final house, right? So like you don't want to become the white elephant, because there's not going to be any comps to compare your property to pretty much forever. Oh, hey, Abby. Oscar's on there too.
Oh yeah, he said that you're not conservative.
Yeah, that's a good reputation to have.
Question.
Yeah.
You don't need, so let's say I'm contesting the value and I have my pendings and I mean, that's usually how realtors think that they're gonna contest the value with active pendings, but you're saying that that's not the way, so.
Yeah, so you're in luck. So for us at Property Rate, we take it we basically will beat your file to death until we can squeeze every inch of value we possibly, and people that's worked with us understand that. So what we do is our team, our reconsideration, we have a dedicated team that just does reconsiderations. They actually, if you'd like, we will call your realtor partner for you. So with your permission, like, yeah, call the realtors, have a discussion. We will call your listing agent or buyer, whoever you want to talk to, and say, hey, listing agent, what made you list this property for this much? Which comps are you using, right? If they don't have comps, we have this product that we're going to show you at the end called the data report. We do our own research. So we will see how the appraiser did it. So let's say the property is 1,500 square feet. The appraiser's using comps that are about 1,200 to 1,800 square feet, right? We will check every comp we can possibly find. Like we'll go from 0 to like 1,900 square feet, right? See if there's any comps that sold higher than what we came in at. Our reconsiderations team will now take those comps, present it to the appraiser. What we do as well to help you guys get that better chance of getting a reconsideration increase is we actually pick up the phone as part of our process and procedure. We actually have to pick up the phone and call the appraiser and actually discuss it with them. We've found from the years that we've been doing this, if you just blind email an appraiser reconsideration, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, no, right? Like, what's my incentive, right? So by actually picking up the phone and having that conversation, and I'll be honest with you, on purchases, obviously, again, appraisers know what you're trying to get, but on refis, they have no idea. So most of the time, honestly, when we call the appraiser, they're just like, how much more do you need? Damn it, this is being recorded. How much more do you need? So that's usually like for us, we're very hands-on in the way we do things. We want to do everything we can to make sure a file doesn't die, especially when we just think that they came in low. I've also, again, as I told you, I've built a special panel for you guys to make sure that you're getting what I like to call the greatest hits of appraisers in every file. So because of that, last month, we were able to increase our values. We ran the numbers 33% of the time, which is ridiculous. So we save a ton of files that could have died. So cool. Solar power. Solar power. So a lot of borrowers think that they get value for solar if they're just leasing it. You only get value for solar if they own it. You don't get it if you're leasing it. So it also has to be common for the area. Like you can't be like the only one that has it, like in all of like Bakersfield. So yeah, it's usually the adjustment for solar power from what I've seen is about 10 to 15,000 from what I've seen on reports. Sometimes it might be more, but again, it just depends on the neighborhood. But in general, I've been seeing 10 to 15,000 whenever I see it. Cool. Oh, I will go to, should I do like the report first or should I go like the?
It's completely up to you. Oscar just made a little comment on the chat for you.
I can attest to that every bit. Thanks, Oscar. I appreciate that.
You can just, yeah.
How do I?
So if you want to get out, you'll just.
Should we show a report?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, your report right here.
Okay, cool.
So this will be a little bit different. I think if you want to just maybe squeeze it out. I don't know how.
Yeah, too big. Oscar, I'm going to use one of your reports. Hope you don't mind. It's like a really, really old one. So I'm just going to breeze through it real quick. So this is an appraisal report. Oh man, this is going really slow. I did make this go by faster. Oh, there we go. Okay.
If you want to do the little page drop down right here.
This one?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, cool. Perfect. So our team does all this like checking. So we have a system that automatically checks the report to make sure all the information is correct. Borrower's name, address. Can you unmute Kathy? So that way.
Oh, yeah.
Unmute Kathy.
You just gotta ask her to unmute.
Okay. So I asked her to mute. There we go. So just in case. There you go. There you are. Okay.
Hi.
Appraiser. She was our appraiser out in the Inland Empire, like in the Moreno Valley, Temecula area. So after years of begging, we finally got her to join us, and she is absolutely awesome. She's also much more pleasant to talk to than our chief appraiser, Ken. No, I'm kidding. 10 people.
I won't tell him you said that, Joel.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Ken's super nice. Everybody here has worked with Ken. Like always awesome. So I just like to clown Ken. I always tell Ken, I'm like, you're the best chief appraiser in the city of Orange. Like, a little bit. Yeah. So honestly, like for you guys as LOs, you're never gonna really look at any of this stuff. It's kind of like pointless. Like something for you guys to look at though now on reports. Kathy, what page is that on? Like the stuff where it's stable or declining market?
Okay, that's going to be on your first page of the 1004.
Okay.
So, because you've got other,
Yeah.
you've got other pages in here, but your 1004 is the most important.
Yep.
And that starts right here.
So
Yep.
right here, you guys see like property values, they'll say increasing, stable, or declining. There has been some reports that's been coming back as declining. This is not the appraiser's fault. This is ran through a software. But sometimes the appraiser does, you know, like for example, San Francisco's declining, guys. I'm sorry, right? Vegas, there's parts of Vegas that are declining, like North Vegas is declining. Okay, and I know sometimes when it's declining, it affects your guys' loan. Again, our appraisers are cool with considering this. I'm batting 100% so far, not trying to show off. I'm just saying I'm very charming on the phone, so I can get the appraiser to change it. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like it's something that we could ask the appraisers to try to change if it is legitimate. We had one in San Francisco where we were like literally telling our client, like, you know that San Francisco is declining. Like there's like literally several articles online about it. So we can't change it. So I think we still end up changing it. But anyways, this is very, very important that you guys should look out for the declining stable market. That's pretty important right now because it affects your guys' loans.
Joel, if I can on that with declining, if an appraiser does check box the declining market, they are required to explain at how it's declining. They can't just say it's declining, you know, that's what the report says, it's declining. They have to go into it and really explain that.
Cool. Yep. They can add some articles on MSN or Yahoo or something. Just kidding. So this is basically the most important page in the entire report. Okay. So little pro tip, for condos, an appraiser will always use a comp in that same development. Okay, at least one. Okay, whether they have to go back in time, like a year, I sometimes see like a year and a half, 2 years, because there's maybe like 8 units or something. They're really not sold. But they will always use a comp in the same complex and then use one outside. So as you guys can see here, the appraiser made it very nice and clean because there's comps readily available. He used 3 comps that's in that same exact development of our property. So again, going back to what I mentioned, our property is C4, right? You can see that this comp that the appraiser used on comp number 2 is C3. So the appraiser gave it a 20K adjustment for the condition of that property. Also, obviously, like the garage, they gave it like value for, you know, the space that they have available. Kathy, is there anything on here that you'd like to emphasize on that you believe would be important to know?
Well, you can see that this time when this report was done, we had the increasing market. So he did adjust, you know, from a February sale. And that would probably be based on his 1004 MC and the percentage ratios of what's going on.
Yep. And then also like for condos, guys, this doesn't really happen with single family residences that much. But sometimes like a condo unit might be the corner unit, right? So that adds more value sometimes. I know I've gotten an appraiser in like San Bernardino to give us like an extra 5K because the property is the bottom unit and it was more valuable to be the bottom unit instead of the higher unit. It's like, good point. Let's give you 5K for that to try to pull off the sales price. God, again, this is recorded. I should stop talking like this. But anyways, but just being real. So yeah, so this is like stuff for you guys to look out for. But again, like this is basically the bread and butter of like the entire report. You guys get the final value here on the bottom, right there, and then yeah, and then you find out whether you find out whether it's as is or subject to. So an appraiser sometimes will put if it, you know, like stuff that's missing. So for example, here in California, smoke, CO2 detectors, water heater, double strap. If it's something like short like that, the appraiser will usually emphasize on here the stuff that needs to be fixed. But if it's like something major, like there's like a list of items that they need to complete, they'll put it in a separate addendum somewhere on the report, and then they'll give you a hard time on trying to find out where it's at. So it's just like super fun sometimes to try to figure out where it's at. Pretty annoying. So appraisers, again, on these reports, this is the second comp grid that comes with it. So an appraiser will always typically use 3 closed comps and then 1 active or pending, right? The reason why they use one active is because they want to show the underwriter that's reviewing the report. Again, let's say this property came in at 415,000, the sales price is 400,000. Let's say our comps were like 380, 390, and then a 410, right? To basically encompass the entire value. You want to show for an underwriter, because they have the lender that's going to ultimately fund this, like that they're not having a risky investment. So they want to see like a pending that's pending higher than that, like a 415 or a 420. So if they know, oh, if I buy this loan, we're going to be okay because there's going to be comps that's going to sell for higher than that after. So it's all about for the investors reviewing it, like mitigating risk when they're trying to buy this loan ultimately in the secondary market.
Are the pending values taken into consideration?
Not really. Kathy, you want to answer that? You might be better at answering.
I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Is the pending listings, like, is that considered with the value, like the final appraised value that much?
It can't be, the value can't be based on that, but that is where the rule of substitution comes in line to support the value. So as Joel had said, if you've got a pending that's up there, but your comps are all low except for one, the pending and active market is going to support that higher value.
Yeah, it's all about for the appraiser writing a good story. So again, you always want to have that one higher comp. Sometimes, like, let's say this final sales price, well, that is the final sales price, the final purchase price is 400,000, right? And let's say our comps were like 370 and 390. Okay, and then we have a comp. Keep in mind, ours is 700 square feet, right? We have a comp that's like, let's give you an easy one, like 920 square feet. Okay, and it's sold for higher. An appraiser can use that like to bracket the entire value to show the underwriters reviewing. It's like, oh no, there's a comp to support the entire thing. There's also appraisers that write a really great story that go the extra mile. So what some of them will do, like I have an appraiser in San Diego, he will call like the listing agents, like on the ones that are pending, and say, hey, how many offers did you get? How long was it in the market for? Right? And because of that, or like, what's it going to close for? Right? So that way they're more confident to basically say, hey, there's one that's pending that only had like, they had 10 offers on it, was on the market for like 3 days, right? Or even ours, let's say that was the scenario, they will write that into the report to help justify why they came into that high value. Cool. Kathy, any other page you think that's really important going through here? This is kind of, anybody have a question? This is kind of useless.
This is pretty generic where you're at right now.
For loan officers, you guys don't really need to know this. I've never even read these before, so I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I just look at the concrete, it's the most important page for me. Make sure all the pictures are there. So here's a good thing that to show you guys. Again, this is a condo, so it's pretty like self-explanatory, but I told you guys, like, like wherever market you're in, a lot of this is just common sense, right? Like, let's say our property was like here. You obviously just want to use all the comps that are like right here in the same exact subdivision. You don't want to try to go grab comps from another side unless you're trying to like make some random thing happen on like a value. Okay, keep going. Okay, this is like the floor plan, right?
Correct.
See. So I guess let's cover ADUs a little bit, Kathy. So ADUs, right? My mind just went blank.
You're not going to find that on a condo.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to explain it from the box. Like an additional dwelling unit, mother-in-law quarter, or guest house, right? So for ADUs, what we've been seeing a lot of realtors make a mistake on. And again, during the pandemic, like the last few years, they were getting away with it. Like we would do these like appraisals in like West Hollywood, and the agents, what they would do, obviously an ADU are usually detached, like a guest house. And let's say our property is like 1,000 square feet, right? And the ADU is like 500 square feet. What we were seeing realtors do was taking 1,000, adding it to the 500, and then going, it's 1,500 square feet now. I will just take comps that are 1,500 square feet. We can't do that. Okay, so an appraiser will take the house that's 1,000 square feet, and again, 200 to 300 square feet on each side, and then hopefully find a comp that has an ADU right? And then basically make the adjustments based accordingly. This was happening a lot. We still see it sometimes, but that's something to coach your guys' realtors on. Last 2 years, we were getting away with it because obviously sales were closing all the time. There was a lot of high sales. We were pulling it off. But again, that's something for you guys to look out for now on ADUs. Kathy, do you have anything else to add on ADUs?
No, I think you covered that really good.
Yeah, so good.
So how can you guys come up with the conclusion with the additional, because it doesn't addition to the property, so it must something positive to it, right, when it comes to price?
Yes.
You can determine that ADU,
Yeah, so back to that comp grid, the appraiser will add the ADU as a line item on there, and then hopefully another comp has an ADU, then based on same thing, square footage, how many bedroom bathrooms that ADU has, they'll make the adjustments based accordingly. On purchases, obviously, again, appraisers will try to use that for their, to try to get you what you guys need to get. Refis, they have no idea, so they'll just, get max possible. But yeah, I mean, it's just up to the appraiser. There are appraisers out there that don't know how to appraise ADUs, which is kind of annoying. But like, you gotta like give us the heads up if you guys ever have a deal like that. Another thing that we've been seeing come up a lot, because you guys have that awesome VSCR loan, is rentals. Obviously a lot of people are no longer putting up their properties on the MLS and just Airbnb-ing it, or VRBO, whatever else companies out there. So we've been seeing appraisers do like a mixture, especially in like the areas that are more popular to like Airbnb out, like the Joshua Trees, Palm Springs, stuff like that. Appraisers mixing like short-term and long-term rentals. So it really depends on your investor what they're trying to get. Here in California, we could check rents for you. But in other states, it might be sometimes harder just because there's so many factors involved. Like obviously Chicago or Colorado, they have basements, stuff like that. We don't know. It's gonna go to the appraiser, try to figure it out here. It's like nobody really has a basement. So if you guys ever have a situation like that, feel free to reach out and ask us like, hey, on this rental, what do you think? We can check those for you. But again, something for you guys to be weary of is rentals. Monica?
Yeah, so circling back to what you were saying about the ADUs. So do you rather go over a mile to check on other properties rather than you just simply don't ever go to the 1,500 and compare to 1,500?
Yeah, they could go out further. From what I've seen with reports that have an ADUs, like let's say Whittier has like 5 zip codes, right? We've been seeing appraisers go out further because they can explain it. There's like a logical common sense explanation. I mean, obviously you don't go to a different city, but if it's like, let's say in Whittier, they're like, okay, there's no, because it's a rare thing, right? So they're like, oh, in this zip code, there's no ADUs. I'm gonna go to another zip code of Whittier and find one that has an ADU and then make the adjustments. And then again, there's some zip codes that are more prestigious. Like I know like where I used to live out in Orange, like the 92867, 92869 are the prestigious zip code. I didn't live in one of those, sucks, but whatever. But yeah, soon, trying to make my way up there. But like 92867, 928 is like the horse property. So again, like based on the prestigiousness, then they'll make a negative adjustment based on, how nice the zip code is. Cool. I can continue going. They'll usually have a picture of the house, bedroom, bathrooms, kitchen. Another thing I want to tell you guys also, this is being recorded. I shouldn't be saying this, but I'll do it. When the appraiser goes after the property, always coach your realtors to not like over reveal so much. Like only talk about positive things. Like don't talk about like stuff that they don't need to, the appraisers need to know. Like don't be like, hey, check out all these broken tiles. You know what I mean? Or like look at these hole in the wall, right? Like yeah, like is this gonna be a problem? No, don't talk about it. Like what are you doing? Right? They're just going out there and gonna see whatever they're gonna see, right? So try not to like reveal too much, only reveal positive things. Another thing is talking about occupancy. We've had a file happen before where like literally the appraiser went out to, it was in Yuba City too. So the appraiser went out to the property. It was like an Indian family. The parents didn't speak English. But the son was like 7 years old, and apparently my appraiser wanted to listen to 7-year-old. 7-year-old is like, oh, yeah, my uncle lives here. He rents from us. And so now they're like, oh, it was tenant occupied. And I'm like, yeah, damn it, like, because that affects the entire loan, right? And I'm like, appraiser, what are you doing? Like, it's a 7-year-old. Like, why are you taking direct? So we ended up having to like redo the file, having to send a new appraiser. I mean, it was just a trick, so luckily fine. But yeah, like we have to redo the file with another appraiser. I'm like, next time, like, shut it, like, don't say anything, right? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, like lock them up, right? So again, like, don't over reveal so much. Like, only talk about like, hey, look at these awesome granite countertops, right?
Well, I think that only happens when you have the buyer's agent showing up,
Yeah.
at, the property, because they obviously want the appraiser to
Yep.
know this
Yep.
so that they have quote unquote bargaining power to negotiate.
Yep.
But then when they don't get their way, now they look to you.
Yep.
To fix it.
Yep. Yeah, like we're doing a house right now, literally, and again, it just depends on the appraisal. Like we're doing a file where the property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. One of the bathrooms is completely gutted. So the appraiser's doing it's like, well, this is gonna be subject to. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. We just did one in Redlands where the second bathroom was gutted and the appraiser was able to just mark it as is, but basically make a caustic cure for that second bathroom. The reason being is because that bathroom is not like one that they use on a day-to-day basis. The master bathroom was still there. So we were able to get the appraiser to say, and then the investor checked us like, yeah, we're fine with that. So we were able to get stuff like that. So we're always trying to come up with a solution for you guys if we can. Well, again, we beat the file down so we can possibly do it. So yeah, just pictures of the house. This is all really kind of like not really important, but the most important part, license, insurance of the appraiser, stuff like that. But the most important page is really that first page, second page, and then those comp grids are really the most important pages. So I'll answer any questions at the end, but I'm just gonna go to the lead gen stuff. It's not popping up. Oh, there we go. Cool. How do I close this bottom part?
Not sound.
This one. Yeah. But what if I want you to sell my I'm kidding. Okay. So one of the products we have here is what we like to call our data report. So what the data report is basically your old school value check. So we have a valuations team in our office, and this is all they do all day is check 64 data points in every property. We're using the same systems and MLS that appraisers use to comp out properties and complete appraisals. So we're basically looking at all the same comps. We provide you a value range. So for example, if you had a property out here in, let's say, Cyprus, our team will review that address and along with actual commentary, let you guys know, hey, if this property is in average visual condition, it looks like it's between 840 to 850. If it's remodeled, it's 870 to 890. Now, the difference between what we do versus what you guys get out there from like Zillow or like a Redfin estimate is unlike those sources. We're the only company crazy enough to actually have real human beings that's running these data reports for you guys all day long. So every time you guys get a data report, it has a person's name, phone number, and email. So let's say we ran a property for you out here in Cyprus. We said it was 700, 710. You need 750 to make that deal work. Well, guess what? You can actually reach out to that person that ran that and say, hey, Brian, I see you ran this to 700, 710. I was thinking at 750. Did you know the property's remodeled? Or hey, did you know there's a view? Or hey, did you know that your square footage is off? It's actually 3,000 square feet permitted. Can you run it for me again? So now you actually have a real live person that you can talk to about any of your transactions that you're working on before an appraisal is ever ordered. So one of these come with every order within the hour, but you guys can request for as many of these as you guys want ahead of time. So if there's a work in your pipeline, you want to know what a house is worth, why go to Zillow when you can have the actual appraisal company let you guys know what the value is of the home. Again, also, since we complete these with every appraisal, know that we're not going to like price gouge you in every appraisal. We do the research up front. Every time we quote you a higher fee, our valuations team translates this information to our orders team. So when we're quoting you a higher fee, it's chances are because we're like, this is a 5,000 square foot mansion that's 3 million plus, or like this is in the middle of nowhere on 20 acres. So we always provide you guys an explanation. So we're not just like charging you for the sake of charging you. So you guys can request for as many of these as you guys want. After we're done with this, I'll ask you for a roster of like an updated list of all of your loan officers so they can all log in from our system. What we've done is we have basically turned this in to a lead gen tool for you, for your guys' realtor partners. I don't know when my voice just cracked there, but it did. So basically what we've done is we have created or can create you guys each your own. We call this our agent portal. So each of you guys get your own propertyrate.com/agent/ your first and last name. So now how you guys would utilize this is you can send this link to every single realtor partner you guys have. You can put it on your email signature. You can put it on your social media. Anytime anybody wants a value check on a property, they can now go on your page and put that address. And we're nationwide. So let's say you have a real estate, like how we used to promote this was basically, if you guys have like a group of realtors or a realtor, I will gladly get on the phone with them or come to their office if you want. Do a realtor lunch and learn if you'd like. And basically introduce this whole premise. We usually do a lunch and learn, talk about kind of like what we just did, like an appraisal 101, quick thing for, because sometimes realtors don't know how appraisers get value, so we like to explain to them. So we will promote this and say, hey, realtors, we know you guys run CMAs, which is great, but a lot of times there's a lot of emotion behind it. You're just trying to get a listing, you're trying to get a deal, you're just trying to get a buyer to offer on a property. So we tell them, why not use our data reports? Because with our data reports, we're going in it based on how an appraiser would value a property. Because at the end of the day, you guys fund on appraised values, right? Not on like magical unicorn numbers. So they go, that's cool. How do we request for those? So now they can go on your page, input any address. At any time a realtor partner does that, they get this data report within 24 hours. Yesy in this example also gets that data report along with the realtor's information. So now Yesy can follow up with the realtor and say, hey, what's up, realtor? You looked at the value of this property in Brea. How can I help you? I want to make sure I'm your preferred lender for it. Okay. This same link, this same portal, you can send that link to every single friend, family member, relative, person from church, school, gym, your entire passbook of business. Like spam the crap out of them, right? Anytime anybody wants to value the property, they can now go on your page. So let's say you haven't spoken to Frank in 3 years, you're being a bad friend. Frank looks at the value of their house. You get a notification. You can now follow up with Frank and say, hey, Frank, what's up? You look to value your house. Are you trying to do a refi? Are you trying to do a HELOC? What are you trying to do here? How can I help you? So now this becomes a lead gen tool for you. And the best part about it is it's free, not charging anything. We just want your appraisals, hopefully, please send it to us. So again, this is just complimentary and it's up to you guys to use it as much as you guys want.
I have a question on this.
Yep.
How do we get a list of, or do we get copied on that?
Yes,
report?
you get copied on a data report, and then also when somebody requests one, you get an email notification immediately. So now you can follow up with that realtor. This is also a great way to give a value add service. I'm going to talk about that. I usually do the, but wait, there's more. So
You have a link for it?
here it is. You know, some of my personal information. Okay, so we can also create co-branded pages for all of your realtor partners. So now, if you're working with like just one real estate agent, you want their entire broker shop, you can now go to the broker and say, hey, let my appraisal company give you this value-added tool. We will give your realtor partner their own propertyrate.com/agent/ their first and last name, same premise. They can now use that link, co-branded with their picture, their logo, their information with you. And again, we'll find your picture online. It'll be creepy, but we'll find it. If you don't like it, we'll change it. Now they can use that link to go and promote and get additional business for themselves, because a lot of people want to go door knocking. We can now do it digitally, right? So they can send that link to all of their same thing, buyers, sellers, their friends and family members, right? So anytime any of those people runs the value of a property or asks for a data report, they get it, the realtor gets it, and then Yesy also gets it. So now Yesy can follow up with the realtor and say, hey, who's this person looking for $900,000 properties in Lakewood? Can I pre-approve them right now? Because that's when you want to capture the deal from the very beginning when they're just searching for a house. And again, this is just something value added that you guys can give. Obviously, right now you want to be in the purchase market because that's where the business is at. So this is a great value added tool that you guys can provide for your realtor partners. And again, it's free. We have a full sales ops team that just creates these pages for you guys. So if you want, send us an Excel spreadsheet or send us a list. We'll create all these co-branded pages with you. Also, when you log into our system, there's a page that has every single realtor partner that you guys have that has it set up. It will show you how many data reports they each requested. You can access every single address that they check. It will also show you how many actually converted to a loan. So if you're working with a realtor partner, they're just like, just using this up, like they requested 120 data reports, but not one single loan out of it. You can call them and be like, hey, I can't keep giving this to you until you give me a loan. Like, what's up, right? So it's a great way, again, for you guys to track and monitor everything that your realtor partners are doing. And it's a great way to cultivate that relationship with your guys' realtor partners. So.
And this is basically something that with the sign up that you mentioned, once I give you the list, everyone's going to get their own stuff, right?
You will get your own agent portal. We will send you your guys' link. You can start promoting that link. Our team will also show you guys how to request for those data reports. You can just email us datareport@propertyrate.com if you're out and about, but you can log in our system. There's a request new data report button. Just put it all on there and yeah. Cool. Hi, Irma.
She wants the info, so I'm
Okay.
letting her know. We'll provide him the LO list and
Create the accounts. Well, I'm not going to do it.
No, we're gonna hold you to it.
Yeah. No, Joel, we want to see a video of you doing it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions? I'm gonna stop sharing here.
Anybody on Zoom that has any questions?
Hey
Yes.
Joel, I may have missed you saying this, but if we already have a data report landing page,
Mhm.
to get anything updated that is currently on that page, we just send an email to the data report at propertyrate.com.
Yeah, if you need something updated on your agent portal, that page that you guys have, feel free to just email me. And I can send it to our sales ops team and they'll correct it for you. If you guys don't like the photo that we found online, send it over to us and we'll change it. Our sales ops team is pretty awesome, so they will, look for it. And if it's not the right one, then they can immediately change it out for you. So don't spend your time creating co-branded pages.
Okay, cool beans. Thanks.
You guys can message me if you guys don't have Joel's info, email me or shoot me a Teams message and I will get that over to you guys so you guys can contact him.
Also, something I also want to reiterate, and a lot of the people on this call are really good about it. If you guys have like any value sensitive files, you're not sure, we ran the data report for you, you're still not sure, reach out to me. Like, don't be shy. We'd rather get your file done correctly the first time than screw it up. So don't be shy about reaching out, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, let me know what you guys need help on, like be open about it. And yeah, we'll come up with a solution or at least, get the best appraisal. I'll give you guys the best shot at it, right? So don't be shy about doing that. So, do you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
When appraisers are doing their comps,
Mhm.
on the actual comps, like where are they getting their square footage data from?
They just get it from property like data information that's public. So if there is like a change to that, make us aware if there's permits. Sometimes the assessor hasn't updated it yet. So they can, use that to try to figure it out. And sometimes like lately, we've been having some properties where like the square footage doesn't match what it says. I mean, it's not our fault, it's not your fault, it's kind of like a fluke. But yeah, I mean, we're just checking property like public data.
And they actually do have the MLS, I'm sorry, the MLS,
Yeah.
they have an appraisal section. So they have access to that.
Yeah, we use what the appraisers use to
I
check.
don't have one, and in fact, you took a look.
You
over
pipe
it.
up, yep,
Yes.
yep, you pipe up, yep. See, I know I'm proud of that. So we're basically using the 3 highest, we actually increased that from 430 to 447. But I talked to Darshan about it, and so we're gonna check it again to see if there's anything
You'll
else.
see that other pending property that has.
We could potentially update
It
it.
has the same square footage on the tax roll and the property
Mhm.
profile, but on the appraisal report, it's listed like
Mhm.
with, I think, like 400, 500 more square footage, which is what it says on Zillow and everywhere else, but if you
Mhm.
pull the actual property profile and the
Yep.
tax roll, you see that it's the same square footage as the other one, and it got appraised higher.
Yeah, we'll check it out. Yeah, I know the appraiser very well. Her son actually used to be in my office and they're upstairs from us, so I know her very well. So we'll check it again, no worries. Yeah, I already talked to Darshan about it prior, so. Yep. Cool.
Anybody else have any questions on Zoom?
Oh, a request for a cartwheel? No, I'm kidding, I'm not.
Do it.
No, I'm not.
Joel, yeah.
I'm gonna end up hurting myself. And then your appraisals will really never get done. Just kidding.
So again, everybody, if you guys don't have any questions, please, you guys can message me if you want Joel's information. I am going to go ahead and send him the list of our LOs so he can set up the profiles. But you guys can message me. I can go ahead and set it up for you guys. And Risa set me up.
Thanks for.
I can go ahead and send you guys over Joel's info so that he can go ahead and set up your guys' profiles, the data request profiles, especially our LOs that you guys want to start marketing and getting, more of those leads. This is perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
No problem.
Bye.
Jesse, did you have or are you saying bye?
You think
Or is it a
bye.
plot?
Yeah. Oh, good. I didn't even know that was possible. Zoom really updated.